Hello. A few topics. See, I have a zit right on the end of my nose. That's number one. Um, First off, I will be discussing, I'm listening to a podcast right now of Kathy Crab Hannah and her talking about plastic surgery, and I'll be commenting on that later after I listen to the whole thing. Oh my goodness, the things in the world right now. I have to say that to everyone who is being a Putin apologist, I cannot conceive. And the first thing I want to bring up is how he's done this in Syria, and he's done it in Chechnya, and he's done it in, what's the name of it, in Russia? Can't remember. The amount of civilian casualties and the amount of civilian death and putting mines along a agreed upon evacuation route, and I just, the man's a war criminal. He needs to be tried as a war criminal, and he probably needs to be sentenced to death. Let me just say that when other people in, like, say, the United States, as in, okay, I'll just take the guy that robbed me, is sentenced to a 300-year sentence and a life sentence, and there wasn't even a murder involved. It was just the sheer amount of times that he threatened innocent people, and you believe that all this death shouldn't be accounted for. I think that probably the very best thing that would happen would be if his general or someone would go in there and remove him from power in whatever way he needs to remove him from power. They've got to remove that man from power. He may be sick, he may be mentally deranged from his illness, but it doesn't really matter because his crimes are the same, and he's threatening the whole world on a daily basis. Why the United States, and this is something I've come to realize, and I'm going to make this quick, but I've come to realize that apparently some in the younger generation do not realize the full weight of a nuclear war and what can happen, and how destructive and how completely destructive to the entire world it will be. Apparently, I don't know if you people haven't been taught. I knew what nuclear war was when I was 4. Because when I was 4, the Cuban Missile Crisis took place, and I sat right on the floor and watched my dad completely freak out. And do you know that we were 2 minutes away from a nuclear war during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Russian general refused to put that nuke in the air and refused to destroy the United States. And this is what we need right now. We need right now to happen, and it needs to happen quick. If you really believe that these civilian casualties, whether in Syria, whether in Ukraine, are going to be unaccounted for somewhere along the way, you're wrong. Any attempts to tie this to religion, this man is attempting to somehow, any of your defense of him and attempts to tie him to some kind of move, this just shows how sick people are now, how sick they have become when you excuse this and think you can excuse it in any way, shape, or form. But why the United States can't go in is the sheer power of the weapons and what will happen, what could happen potentially in the world if they were to put a no-fly zone. And I'm sorry about it, golly. Is it just like ignoring Germany and what they did to the Jews in the Holocaust? There's shades of it, yes. But there weren't nuclear bombs at that time. until right at the end, with Hiroshima. There weren't ways to destroy the world the way there are now. So what was the excuse then? I really don't know. This world is in serious, serious trouble. So you can look away, and you should look away. You should live your life until you can't live it anymore. But to ignore the suffering, the magnitude of the suffering and the starvation, children are now dying from heat dehydration in Mariupol, to ignore is just like ignoring what happened in Syria. And that's the tragedy. I don't even know what to say except Russian people, you've got to stop that man. You and you alone.